Howdy ho there, folks. You've got Roy Schreffler coming to you from January 1st, New Year's Day, 2020, to do another in a series of his family Bible videos. And this particular one is from a family in Lancaster County of Daniel Schwobe, or Swope. And that's pretty much the reason I'm making this video, because the name's been changed quite a bit by even the family themselves over the years. And there are many spellings of the name, surname. But in this case, I have some opinions I'll share with you in this family Bible that I bought on eBay about a month ago. Okay, here's the subject of our discussion. You can see it's there's the size of my hand. Oh, it's maybe 3 inches thick. It happens to be a Kimber Sharpless from Philadelphia. I mean, just check out this, these end papers with this, fancy pattern. There's a name for this. It escapes me at the moment. Maybe I'll remember it as we get into the video. But in any event, I'm going to dig a little bit into this Bible and tell you what I know about it, and hope get something out of it. Okay. Here's the first page in Kimber Sharpless. This particular one is undated, and I'll get into that in a second. The reason I know this is I've got maybe half a dozen of these Kimber Sharpless Bibles in my repertoire. I believe all the ones I have are in German, but they did make many editions in English. And here's the title page. Holy Scriptures, Old and New Testaments. Martin Luther's here. Philadelphia, gedruckt, printed, Kimber Sharpless, book handler. And here's the street in Philadelphia. And again, no date, but I do have a physical example of these Bibles starting from 1824. I believe this undated version is actually about 1829 from everything I've seen and read. So let me get back to the really first page of this, which is really important here. This is, I need to point this out and highlight this. We're getting a little bit of a shadow here. Let me change the lighting here as I can to get rid of that shadow. Okay. All right, so here you see in the old German script, Dieses Bible in the possession of Daniel Schwobe, Schwobe. And that's, Oh, I forget now. Anyway, this is the word August, August, den, and I think this is Schwobe. What is that? Anyway, here's something to notice too. The August the 27th, and then he writes, whoever the scrivener is, in a different, almost cursive English, Anno Domini, which is AD 1842, we'll say, possibly 3. And then you see the lines in the different colors. You see red, and black. Okay, we need to keep that in mind. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and the coloration and what we see in the handwriting. So anyway, we'll get right into the written family history page. This is pretty well foxed throughout. You see the discolorations, but in general, it's not too terrible. It's a good copy, but always typical of these Bibles, somewhere between the Old and New Testament. I have it marked here. What I call the family history pages, and we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, so here we are. You see, it's quite filled in, and this is the page just before the family history pages. It goes into the last chapters, and in here it says "End the Old Testament." Alton, A-L-T-N. End of the Old Testaments. So if I pan back up, you see there, and then we have the first family history page. So we'll dig right into it. And here we have Daniel Schwobe, son of Daniel and Elizabeth Schwobe, ist geboren den 14th day of August, again, Anno Domini, in a different cursive, 1803. Feine, I think it's, yeah, Feine Frau, sometimes they say, but here I think it's short for housewife. Susanna Schwobe, and this is a hyphenated word, Tochter, or daughter of Joseph and Catherine Heller, is born the 29th day of July, Anno Domini 1814. Jesus, and this is their, when they got married. Okay. The 26th day of November 1833. Again, Anno Domini, written in a totally different script. And then Hinders or Warden, I'm not quite sure what that is. But anyhow, it's the two names of the parents of this family. You have Daniel Schwobe and his wife, Susanna, who was a Heller Schwobe. And all of this matches the genealogy that's up on Ancestry.com. You can see it. There's some errors on Ancestry, give or take a little bit, but what's interesting is, we'll go back to that first page where it said, this was the book of Daniel Schwobe. He's in possession of this Bible, and we're seeing 1842. So to put it in context, if this is an 1829 Bible, and he has somebody scriven or write in ink here the date August 27th, 1842, there's a few 13 years difference in there from 1829. So what happened in the interim? Well, if he was born, like this says, let's go back, I believe it was 1803. Yeah. If he was born in 1803, the Bible come out 1829, he was 26 at the time. And if they didn't get married until 1833, there's a little bit of a lag. So the Bible's only 4 years old after they get married. So what makes sense is they get married, somehow they acquire this Bible, which is printed in 1829. It's not a stretch to believe that they could have gotten this Bible as a marriage gift, either by themselves or as a gift. And then they start their family. And they list the first birth of Graybill, Grey, with the umlaut in black on there. Schwobe. And it was born in 3rd of December, 1834. So they get married in 1833. They have a Bible from 1829. It's a few years old. The first child is born 1834 and get taufed here, baptized in 1835. So I conjecture that at some point, because if you look down through here, all their children, it's the same pen, the same hand. Okay, up to 1840, baptized here, 1842, 1843. You'll see all these are still in kind of the same color ink, same hand, up to 1846. And then it kind of changes with Maria here. It got a little dark in 1849. 1850. I'm going to get into that. And then, of course, it gets into black here in 1852. This color is different than this color in 1850, but 1849. So what we're trying to establish here is that perhaps they hired a scrivener on or around sometime after 1845, 1846, maybe even up to 1850, and we'll get to that in a second. They hired a scrivener to finally write in the book what was known about the family. And we need to pay particular attention to these two children. Joseph Heller, that was his middle name, Schwobe, son of Daniel and Susanna, was born 12th August, 1844. And then he was baptized. And then Henrietta Schwobe was born a year later, baptized. And then we had Maria, of course, 1848-49. Well, let's fast forward to the death page. This particular family page is for the Geburten births. But over here, the next page, this stands for deaths, Starbfall. Okay. And we'll see that Joseph Schwobe Starben died on the 7th of June, AD 1850. And here, again, the A and the D look like they're truncated, but again, is in the cursive script like Anno Domini. And you can see the lines here that the scrivener used to stay straight. So Joseph was born roughly 1846, and he died by 1850. And Henrietta, and the ink got smeared here, died also on the 9th of June, same year. So we had one child dying on the 7th of June, 1850, and one child dying on the 9th of June, 1850. That's why I believe the scrivener was probably called in to record these deaths shortly after they recorded their births. So these children were maybe 5 and 4 years old, quite young. And then, of course, the scrivener may have been around or had just entered this for 1849, and then he had to enter the deaths of these two children in 1850. And then, of course, he or she is called back to enter this last birth of Susanna Schwobe in 1852. I believe it's the same scrivener because of this, the way they write the Anno Domini. But in any event, that's what we have. And then I believe that's the end of the recordings in this Bible for certain. You can see then the New Testament starts. Again, no date, even on the New Testament page, which is kind of strange, but anyway, that's what we have. I did do the genealogy somewhat on this Daniel Schwobe family. He did die, I believe, in 1894, and on findagrave.com, his gravestone is spelled Swope, S-W-O-P-E. And the immigrant ancestor, his grandfather, was Yost Schwobe, which, again, got changed over the years. Some say Schwab, some say Swope. It's spelled many different ways, but it's rare for me to find S-C-H-W-O-B-E on any of the tombstones and records. There are some in the Lancaster area that have S-C-H-W-O-B-E on them, but believe it or not from these particular family, from siblings and so forth. Anyhow, we can corroborate their names. They had Graybill, Catherine, Sarah, Rebecca, Susie? I don't know. I got to look at that one. I don't know, remember it offhand. Here's an Elizabeth. And then we go to, that's Elizabeth's. And then we had, of course, Joseph and Henrietta, who we talked about. Then Maria. Then Adam. And that's an important one, Adam. And Susanna. What happened was Adam was the youngest son of Daniel, so it turns out that Adam continued on the family farm, which was purported to be 1,000 acres. And then when Adam died, there's an 1898 article written locally in Lancaster about the family, and it says that the daughters still have the farm. So I believe Daniel died around that year, or Adam, and some of his sisters might have still had the farm. And it being 1,000 acres, it was purported. Today there are no 1,000 acre farms in that area of Upper Leacock Township in Dauphin County. It's about 2 miles west of New Holland, and the town has been renamed to Leola, where this is located, this family farm. But in any event, that's what I have for this particular Bible. Thanks for hanging in with me, folks, and have a happy new year, and we'll see you. Sun's coming up.